Welcome, this is Local Lights. I'm your host Daisy Vargas, and today we have three very special guests in the studio. They will be talking about the Imaginists, a theater company that has been here in Santa Rosa for a few years. They will be telling us about their shows that they do in English, but also in Spanish. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we have Brent Lindsay, Gustavo Servin, and Quenby Dolgushkin. Correct? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Okay. As one of the founding members, can you please tell us a little bit about the Imaginists?
Sure. We started doing theater in the woods of Delaware in 1993, my partner Amy and I. It was really a response to the classic training that we had both been getting in theater, and we wanted to do things a little bit differently. So we started writing our own theater with a group of people. It was the original ensemble. It was about 7 of us, and we started writing and directing our own work and acting in the work. And eventually we would come out toward my home. We moved to Truckee in the Sierra Mountains in 1997. And then Amy and I finally moved our way up north and started an education program in Healdsburg. So that brought us up to Sonoma County, and that was in 2001. And we moved the Imaginists to Santa Rosa in 2007. So we've been here now 6 years. We've evolved into quite a different beast than what we began, but we're still doing original theater, and we still create it as a group. We will often, someone will come in with an idea, but we'll always put it to the group to see what additional ideas that we can apply to the story. And so that's what our ensemble does. We really create together, we get in the space, we improv together. That's really how we create our shows.
So it sounds like this is a community effort. It's not just something that you decide, but the community has input as well.
Absolutely. In fact, there are really a couple of things in play. There's an ensemble, a core ensemble we call it, which is a group of people that works consistently throughout the year together. And we also reach out to the community doing site-specific work and work in the communities, bringing community into the work. So it's actually community members who have never been on stage before, never had training, but we work with them to do plays with them. So we'll talk a little bit about that later on, but the Bayer Farm Project, the Harvest Festival, that's a big part of that. So, and Quenby and Gustavo have been involved in a lot of those projects.
And Gustavo, can you tell us a little about your involvement with the Imaginists, maybe how long you've been there, and also some of the shows that you've worked on?
So I met the Imaginists through my drama teacher, my drama high school teacher, because he offered me to be in a radio play. I did it, and I did it with them. It was launching of a book, and it was great. After that, I was still in high school. And then at the end, I got to work a little bit with them in a play called Waiting for Lefty. And after that, I had, for some scheduling reasons, I couldn't go back anymore. But after that, How a Mountain Was Made came, and I got to work with them on that. So that was great. And now I'm working on Real with them, which we'll talk about later. And then I've also worked with the Artist Medicine show with them, so that was great too. So it's been about a year, like a consecutive year, but I've known them for about 2 probably.
That's great. Quenby, so you've been with the Imaginists for 10 plus years. So tell us, what is your favorite part about the Imaginists, and perhaps a piece that you've worked on that you really feel passionate about?
Well, every piece I feel passionate about. Every piece brings up new things for me. It's amazing how much I learn through our plays. It just makes me think in ways that I wouldn't normally. It pushes me, and I really appreciate that.
So now on the screen we see a picture, Quenby. Can you please describe what's going on in the picture and what play this is?
Okay. This was The Ratcatcher. It was a collaboration with a local band called The Crux. They're amazing. In this particular scene, I'm having a very dramatic song about my life and why I left this small town that I grew up in and why I'm so crazy now. And my character in that was the rat lady. I was actually the secret daughter of the mayor, who everyone thinks is just like totally crazy and out of it, and she lives with the rats. But she knows the truth. There's a secret truth, and she knows it, and it's driving her mad. So.
Can you also tell us, how do you prepare when you're going to be on stage? What are maybe some techniques or skills?
I don't know. I just try to stay relaxed, honestly. I try really hard not to focus on my lines too much, because I feel like that will just flub me up. If I focus on that too much, I just really try to envision the character that I'm portraying and try to join with them in a way. Like, I have this whole visualizing thing where I see my character in front of me and we shake hands, and then I become them.
So please tell us a little bit about your plays that you're working on recently.
Okay. Right now we are in rehearsal for a play called Real, and it's a loose adaptation of Carlos Collodi's Pinocchio, the book. Except Pinocchio, there's a bit of a twist that we put on it, which is Pinocchio is a young dreamer who wants to become a real boy, a citizen. So we put a bit of a contemporary twist on the old tale. It's still told much like a fairy tale. It's fun and it's absolutely ridiculous, but the metaphors we get to play around with and twist into things that we all know, or at least some of us know very acutely in our world today. And it's also a way for us to bring to our audience, bring issues that not everyone might know about. So it's an entertaining way for us to do some social justice work, to invite the audience in and let them know that there's more work to be done to become a leader in this society, and let people have their chance at freedom and equality, all these values that we all share. So Pinocchio is just this new play is just the most recent go at that. That explains a lot of the work that we do at the Imaginists. So that in a nutshell, that's what we're working on right now.
I think the unique thing about the Imaginists, like you said, it's about getting out those social issues that are happening in our community. And so how do you decide what you will be performing in terms of what social issues you will be talking about?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of it, like Gustavo was just saying, a lot of it revolves around things that we are going through in our lives as a collective, as a group of people. A los Actores was a play that we did to the actors, and it was a follow-up to a lot of the collaborations we were doing with day labor centers, Creighton Day Labor Center being a big one here. And To the Actors was all about the impetus behind that was about the deportation of one of our ensemble members. She was deported, and we our reaction to that was to write a play about her being gone from us. And so we Skyped her through the play so that she was on stage with us, and it was a way that we could inform our community as to something that was very devastating. An amazing human being that did nothing but good for our community, our society, and so we react to that. The rat catcher that Quenby just brought up, it was based on the Pied Piper, a tale that many of us know growing up. But for us, it was we twisted it into what artists, young artists, face being brought up in a community that doesn't support art, and the artists disappear. And so it was a way for us to let our community in on a story that is not being told through a story that we all know. So we adapt a story to bring up an issue, introduce our community to an issue that is affecting us. Artists leaving, going to Portland or San Francisco. Why? Because real art, the art that's, really has guts, is hard to find here. And people want it, young people especially.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that young people, that's what they want to hear. How many students do you have right now that are performing in the Imaginists?
Well, Quenby, as she said, has probably been around the longest, right? You're like, she's one of the old crew. And then right now, actually at our space, I think second to Quenby is Emil Rosewater, and he's been with us since he was 9, and he is doing a show. We're producing a show of his very first self-produced show. He wrote it with his partner Catherine Seek, and they are doing shadow puppets. It's about an hour's worth of beautiful shadow puppetry and original music. So that's happening at our space the next 3 nights.
Oh.
And that's a first for us because we get to produce one of our students. And he is about to tour the country with this piece, and they're going to go to New York with it. But it's really an opportunity for us to kind of kick the bird out of the nest and hope that he flies, and he is. They're doing great, and for us, I think it's just a real honor to watch people grow in an art form. And like Quenby said, you get addicted to the way that art can be created. There's a really healthy alternative to what we all know is hierarchical. Director says this, we do this. Creating as a group is really different, so that every voice really has an opportunity to change the direction of that story. And as much as it's an honor to have someone like Emil start his own career, it's an honor to have Quenby still here with us. It makes the ensemble so much more rich. She knows so well how we work. And Gustavo in 2 years has done the same. It's miraculous, the energy, how it really informs the next generation, and people adapt to it so well and quickly.
And I'm curious to know, being part of the Imaginists for 10 plus years, how has that been part of your personal life? Has it helped in terms of your career or educational goals?
Yeah, absolutely. It's helped in all aspects of my life. It's just made me a more confident person, and it's opened my eyes to what I feel is really important and what is worth doing in this life, I guess. Because all of our work is so important, and I feel like it gives me a voice, and it allows me to hear other voices, and just work in a community and bring something to the audience that they haven't seen before, make them think in a new way.
Yeah, and so are there any future productions that we will be seeing you in?
Yeah, Pinocchio. We're doing, it's called Real, actually, and I'll be playing a few different characters. I'll be playing a fox, a really tricky fox that I won't tell what I do, but I'm tricky. A rabbit, and a student puppy. Many things.
To me, these sound like success stories.
Oh yeah.
And just to see somebody grow into, I guess, a character, if that's what we want to call it. And so tell me a little bit more about how do you choose what plays you want to play? Like, for example, I know that I went to one where we were outside. And so how does that come up?
Well, site-specific work is a huge part of what we do. Our mission is to completely rethink theater and how it engages a community. And the American theater as it stands right now is in deep trouble. The reason it's in deep trouble is we've been playing a model that now is aging out, and we have an older audience going. Not a problem. It's really been great. But there is a younger generation that doesn't understand what theater is or can be, and that's an issue. And in our community, it's an even bigger issue when it doesn't cross cultures or ethnic boundaries. And so the Imaginists really take it upon themselves to serve a community that isn't being served by theater, to really invite that community in. And that's a lot about taking shows outdoors or on bikes to parks, is to go to the community. Don't expect them to come to you. We go to them. And so when we do the Art is Medicine show, we go out on bike, we set up a show, and we play for an hour to a community that half of them don't even know we're going to arrive. And then they're treated to something that maybe they've seen, maybe they haven't, but it's something they're not expecting.
I see.
And that's the way that we can create audience. Bayer Farm, which is coming up at the end of this month, we create with the Rosa community, and we perform it at the farm. And Gustavo was involved last year. It's a blast. You know, community members will come into it, whether they cook for the Harvest Festival or whether they're involved in the play with us. It's a way that we involve community as actors, audience, participants in some way, shape, or form. But it's an introduction, and it's a great way to introduce them in their community, at their farm, in their garden. So it's really exciting.
Wow, and I think another unique thing, you say it's bilingual.
Yes.
And so how does that play out when you give out roles? Does everybody speak English and Spanish, or do they learn it through the process?
Yeah, in fact, that was, it's really, again, it's the art form itself. When the art form starts to dictate its path to you, you just follow. Neither Amy or I are bilingual. I think Quenby probably speaks better than I do. So, so it's really important for us to then get out to the community and meet people like Gustavo. Last year, when we did the radio play together, it's really such a blessing to meet young people, especially who have that capacity to be bilingual, and then to bring it to the art form. It's like, for us, it's a miracle. It's wonderful because it's so necessary. And so we're really relying on the generosity of people like Gustavo and Zaira Diaz and Marcela, many people in our ensemble who really have the talent to be both bilingual and so wonderful on stage.
Definitely. Yeah. Gustavo, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the response of the public when they see that it's a bilingual show?
So first, my response was wow. Like when they told me it was gonna be bilingual and it was a bilingual theater, I was like, you don't see this, it's so new. It was just so new to me, but I think the response of the public, some of them really enjoy it and appreciate the what we're doing, because they know that it's not being done, and it's that we're taking it upon ourselves and to go out and do bilingual theater without, like he said, no one, like, not a lot of people. Well, a few people are bilingual, but like those who aren't are still speaking Spanish on stage, which is amazing to me. So I think the people just end up impressed and really are grateful for it.
Okay, any thoughts of moving to trilingual theater soon, perhaps?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because we have, I think, fast been wanting to enter the world of ASL, so American Sign Language as well, so that would make it trilingual. But yeah, I mean, everything's game. I mean, the wonderful thing about language is there's a whole incredible world of exploration with language. But in our community, it just makes most sense to start here. You're inviting a whole huge percentage of our community in by doing this. And to what Gustavo said, I think is really interesting, and you might agree with this, is for we who don't speak Spanish and we force ourselves to speak Spanish in these plays, you really become empathetic to what a Spanish speaker having to speak English in this country, you really empathize with what they go through, because it is not easy. And I think that that's a really amazing thing also to learn through the art form, is empathy for other human beings. And that's really something else that we're trying to offer.
Yeah, because you don't see that at many theater companies, and so I know that that's one thing when I went to watch your show that I really enjoyed. So is there a certain fee? Also, when you go out with bicycles, do people pay for that as well, or are these free shows?
That is a free show.
Wow.
When the economy collapsed, it was the year we moved to Santa Rosa, and we had a heck of a time paying rent. And even still, the vision of art must be higher. We must always elevate art to that level of what do people need right now. Let's not focus on ourselves, let's focus on the community. And so it really was born out of an old idea from the Great Depression, when the New Works administration was employing theater artists to make theater for the public in a very hard time. And people were given free tickets, or it was heavily subsidized, so that people, it was state sponsored really, so that people could go enjoy theater. And they were keeping a bunch of actors employed. And we had this idea, this crazy idea, to use that model. Of course, we don't have the money to really back it up, but we were asking people to come on board, bike out to the communities with a bilingual show that would be free for the community, and just lift people's spirits up. Simple as that. And it's grown now, it's in its 6th year, and last year we were honored to get an NEA grant, National Endowment of the Arts. So it really put us on the national radar. A very hard grant to get, very prestigious, and all of a sudden Santa Rosa has a National Endowment of the Arts grant. So it was an honor for us, and also an honor to put Santa Rosa on that performing arts map. It's very it's an amazing feeling to bring that back to my hometown. This is where I grew up, so it's what I wanted to bring back to my home, and it's beginning to happen. So I'm really, really happy about that.
Yeah, so what I see is that the Imaginist is a community space for people that want to either enjoy watching a play or being in the play.
Yeah, that's right.
And how do you recruit your members?
Well, I mean, a lot of times it's calling up a drama instructor like Elsie Allen, Robert, we know real well and like his work, and we'll say, look, do you know of anyone who might be interested in this? And he's put us in touch with great people. Patty Gomez this year as well rode with us on the Artist Medicine show. Amazing. With the education program, we get to know a lot of students who really learn how we work because we teach them. And through that ensemble process and learning with one another, they really work themselves into the ensemble so easily. I mean, for them, it's so natural. And then going out to the community, it really is about, who wants to do this work? If you want to be involved, come to the theater, come to a show. That's the first thing. See what we're doing, introduce yourself to what we do. And then volunteer, because as you say, the community is very large. We all do dishes, we all mop floors, we all take care of the space, which is quite sacred to us because the stories going on there mean so much. And so it's really about taking care of that community, our space, and then developing into the organization more, getting more and more involved.
So if somebody wants to support the Imaginists, what are the different ways that they can definitely get involved in terms of financially, but also, like you were saying, volunteering?
Great. So the most important thing for us now, and I tell everyone, what do you want your town to look like? Growing up here, I know that I graduated, I loved theater, and the first thing I wanted to do was leave because there was nothing exciting. And so, I want to see a town that has a theater that does socially conscious work that is aware of what's going on around us in the world, work that engages. That really appeals to me, and I think that young artists, that really gets, I think that really gets them involved as well. And it's one that also I want to see artist support, and not just monetarily, but support in ideas and thoughts and their stories. And so really, the best way to support it, I say, what do you want the town to look like? Do you want homegrown, world-class theater in your town? Then come support it in whatever way you can. Come to the shows, tell friends about the shows, hop on our website and donate. Hit the donate button. $25 a month, you're saving our space here in Santa Rosa. $50 a month, you're saving our space and letting us pay actors. So there are great ways. Get on our Facebook page, like it, and start to get the posts. But come to shows and spread the news. That's really the best way.
Gustavo, can you give us some type of advice for youth who want to get into acting? Anything that you have for them?
Go to the Imaginists.
There you go. That's a start.
Go see the shows, go see what they're about, and I mean, you don't have to go to the Imaginists, but I mean, it would be a different type of theater, and it's something very fun to do. I love it, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a way to relieve me, like it releases all my stress, I guess you could say. And it's just, I love doing it. So if you really want to get involved, start going to the shows, go to the class. It's really fun, and it's totally worth it. And like every single second that you spend there, it's totally worth it.
Wow. Great. So Quenby, can you tell us, and just very quickly, what have you gotten out of being part of the Imaginists?
So much. I've gotten so much out of it. I mean, it's my life. I feel like it's the one place where I can make a difference in my community, and gosh, just like take it all in. It's just an amazing thing to be a part of, and I'm grateful for it every day. And yeah, I don't even know how to say it.
And just lastly, remind us one more time of the address and also any upcoming shows.
461 Sebastopol Avenue, behind Juilliard Park. And the upcoming shows, Real, based on Pinocchio, and that will be in October. And then later this month, Bear Farm. We're going to be doing the Harvest Festival the 28th of September at Bear Farm. And then Calaveras de Monton in early November, which is the Day of the Dead celebration, bilingual. Community is invited to perform as well. And that leads us to Patriotic Holiday, our holiday show.
Well, thank you for being here today. And so we look forward to maybe having you back as well to tell us a little bit more about any other shows coming up later or any other projects that you're working on. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. This was Local Lights with Daisy Vargas.